for me, it's a very show that talks about a lot of pain, or came from a lot of pain, and I want to understand how people get to a place where it is so painful, but then come out on the other side. And when you think about like the addict, imagine calling and I didn't know that was abusive. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that now like, yeah, that's abusive. I'm way more than that. You know what I mean? Even at your worst, you're even way more than that. You know what I mean? Or you've
always been way more than
that. Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Always been.
But yeah, you don't think like that. Welcome to Real Talk TV. I'm your host, Darryl Buchanan. I'd just like to thank everybody for watching the show, supporting the show, liking the show, and ask you that you continue to share the show. I'd like to give a shout out to WMCT-TV, Alex, Mike, Matt, and Ryan. Thank you guys for what you do here. Without you, Real Talk wouldn't be happening. I'd like to give a shout out to Recovery Connection, peers, members, and staff there. Just like what we're doing, I ask that we all continue to push forward to bring, recovery to the community, bring services to the community. I'd like to thank everybody that is involved in the Boys to Men's group. The group's going well. The men are responding. It's just been a wealth of information being shared. I'd also like to give a shout out to Diamonds and Pearls group there at the Recovery Connection. Another good group. The ladies are showing up. And if there's any men that would like to be a part of Boys to Men, come down to the Recovery Connection on Mondays. We do the group around 1:30. And if there's any women, we do Diamonds and Pearls on Friday about 1:30. I'd like to give a shout out to More. Mass organization for addiction and recovery for their frontline work, and they're bringing unity to the recovery community. I like that, and I just give you guys a salute. I'd like to give a shout out to Cosmic School of Beauty for providing haircuts for the center for those in recovery and those that may be homeless or unfortunate in financial situations. I just thank you guys for showing up and stepping up for your community. I'd like to thank Market 32, formerly Price Chopper, for their generous daily donations of pastries and breads and stuff to the community recovery center so we can give out to the community. I also like to give a shout out to the Marlboro Public Library for presenting a computer class there at the Recovery Connection. Big shout out to them guys out there. And I'd like to let you guys know there's an event coming up that we're hosting called Haircuts, Backpacks, and Hot Dogs. It's a community event. What we're trying to do is the Recovery Connection, we're trying to involve the community in surrounding and supporting the youth from going back to school, giving them haircuts, backpacks, supplies, and hot dogs. If there's anybody that'd like to get involved with that event, I'll put some information up at the end of the show. You can come meet with me. We can talk about it and see how you can come involved in bringing this event to the community. Okay, with that said and done, I'd just like to let you guys know, this show really, really needs support. We need you guys to continue to share the show. Be a little bit more assertive in sharing it, right? Because this information that we provide on the show needs to stay in the front, right? Because this very serious issue, actually, the overdoses have been up this year, and it's not making frontline news. So it's like people like me, Real Talk TV, and other people that are doing shows like this that are trying to keep this in the forefront. And we do need your help and support in making sure that it stays there. All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my next guest. Very special guy. How do I say it? When he comes around, it is like sunshine. You know what I mean? That's the only way I can describe it, right? It is like sunshine. I noticed that when he comes around, the temperature, or at least the energy in the room, increases in a positive note. Everybody knows him, and who does know him know that he walks around, and when you see Sunshine Scotty, you know that recovery's real. And he also reminds me of that. When I see him, it's just like recovery's real. So I'd like to introduce Scott Francis. He's Moore's regional coordinator for Metro West area. He's also, just like I said, he's a power of example in the recovery community. And thank you for coming, brother.
Darryl, thank you. That was an awesome intro.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for all the work you're doing in the community. You care about people, and the work that you're doing outreach is second to none. So
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you for inviting me on.
Thank you, brother. I'm glad to have you. Okay, let's get right into it. Tell me a little bit about you. What was your environment like, and where did you grow up? What was it like?
Well, luckily, I had a very wonderful childhood. You know, I had
Yeah.
mom and dad. They met together. They've been together since 1959. They went to Dartmouth High School, and I was born in New Bedford, and we lived just on a suburb of New Bedford.
Okay.
And things were good. I played sports, lived in the neighborhood. Parents had a home, and dad had a small construction company. My mom ended up going back to school to be a teacher. Until that, she went back to school when I was like 16. She was a stay-at-home mom and had a lot of love, and it was a nice upbringing. You know, I played a lot of sports, and that was how I spent most of my time. Baseball, basketball, and those are the two big things we did growing up.
Sports, good. Yeah. So what type of student were you in school?
Depends who you ask.
Did you like school?
Depends who you ask. You know, I had a teacher. Some of my teachers loved me. Some of them, like, you know, not so much.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was more interested in having fun. You know, I was good enough to, I guess, get decent grades. But I just, I wish, I guess, maybe I could have spent more time on the books. But, you know, graduated from high school, and then I went to college.
Oh, you did?
And graduated in 4 years with a bachelor's degree in sociology, and I'm
Something I didn't know. Good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate. So I guess I learned enough in school, but I really enjoyed the community and playing sports and being part of something. That was a lot of fun.
All right, cool. What age did you start experience with drugs and alcohol?
Well, I remember when I was 9 years old. I was at my
That's a crazy. Everyone seems to start.
Yeah. I was at my friend's house. He had a bar downstairs, and I remember above that bar there was a picture of Bobby Orr scoring the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought that picture was great, and I just remember trying a bunch of drinks and you know, and got drunk. And they say if you can remember your first drunk and your last drunk, you might have a problem with alcohol. And I guess I'd like to rather talk about my last drunk, which was last drink I had was on September 21st, 2007.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good stuff. So I don't even have to go into this other question. We can just go on to next. But tell me, what strategies or coping mechanisms that you found effective in your recovery process?
You know, I got to tell you, without peer support, like I don't get into addiction recovery because, as I was sharing, like after I had that experience with being sectioned for mental health, I guess, challenges and my addiction, I was really using a lot of substances. You know, I didn't want to go into addiction recovery, but having peer support helped me take a look at what was really going on. Because I remember seeing that therapist, and he's like, I don't think you have bipolar disorder. He's like, I think you have substance use disorder. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. But, you know, and he asked me a great question. What am I going to replace alcohol and other drugs with? You know? Like, what, you know, I didn't know, and I said nothing. But it took 11 years, man. 11 years to answer that question. It was when I was at a retreat training to be a certified peer specialist. And this was in 2006. And I was introduced to WRAP, Wellness Recovery Action Planning. It's an evidence-based practice on how to get well and stay well. And it's key concepts. There's 5 key concepts: hope, personal responsibility, education, support, and self-advocacy. And by taking a look at all this stuff, like, you know, what were the stressors, or what led to me being unwell? And like I said, it was always substance use. You know, and so having that game plan of figuring out what I got to do to be well, then I ended up going into a 12-step program. You know, and I went there, and it was suggested to me that I go to 90 meetings in 90 days, get active in the group, go out on commitments, and you know, so I started doing that. And this was in 2006. You know. But
things have changed now and then.
Yes, yes, because there was only I was unaware of a variety of pathways.
You
know, so now I use all these different pathways. Like in the past week, I've gone to Recovery Dharma, I've gone to a Buddhist meditation meeting. I've received peer support from people in addiction recovery. I've been to the Recovery Connection, 31 Main Street.
There it is.
You know,
There it is.
receiving. I've also been at Turning Point Recovery Center in Walpole. So like I go to a variety of
Those
recovery
peer centers are
supports.
powerful.
I was at another place on Tuesday night. I went to the Divine Recovery Center in South Boston, and they have a pool table there. I got to play some pool. It was a good thing. So I've used that, and you know, clinical support. I've used therapy, you know, and also I got to give a shout out to my wife. My wife is a person in long-term recovery. Having that peer support from her, and you know, in my gym community. Shout out to Mike's Fitness Center, everybody down in JP. What's up, everybody? That community, I go around wearing my Recovery is Real shirt. So being part of a community, being exercising, has played a huge part of my recovery, and also meditation and spirituality.
All pathways, I believe that.
Thank you.
You don't even have to wear that shirt anymore. I think if people see it, they just already know automatically. Right? Go ahead, answer me. What advice do you give someone in early stages of recovery? If someone came up to you and needed some advice.
That's a great question, because I don't give advice. Because of
Suggestions.
you know, I don't give suggestions. Can you believe it, Dow?
I don't know. How would someone know if
They could ask me, what do I do? Because I find that like nobody wants me to tell them what to do. And if advice works so well, would I really even be here now?
Okay.
So I will
how do you
share-
deal with people? How do you share?
All right, I like that question.
All right, let's do it then.
I'll share. I would share my experience about like. So So somebody in early recovery.
Somebody came to early recovery, somebody you know.
That's a great. I would ask them like, what do they got to do to be well? Like, you know, and I would tell them what I had to figure out is what do I got to do to be well? What skills, supports, and resources do I need? In fact, what does it even look like for me to be well? You know, what do I'd tell them like I had to figure out what to leave in and what to leave out. Would you believe I stopped going to the New England Patriots in 2006 when I went into addiction recovery because it was a recovery hostile environment? That wasn't a safe place for me to go.
In early recovery.
In early recovery.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I decided to, because whenever I'm trying to reach a goal, I try to figure out what do I got to do to get it? What do I got to stop doing to get it? And then what are the benefits I'm going to receive by reaching this goal? So I said, look, I'm not going to any more Patriots games until I get 90 days of abstinence under my belt. And in that time, I went to a meeting every day, and sometimes 2, sometimes 3. And I joined a group, went out on commitments, and I had to deal with like my own personal fear because I'm also a person in trauma recovery. I've had things happen to me, and so as a result, you know, trust is earned with me, and so I had to overcome that fear, and that was a barrier in early recovery. So I'd ask people, what are some of your barriers, you know, for early recovery? What are you willing to do?
Good. All right, so getting back to that, yeah, it is. We all need trauma recovery. The trauma that we put on ourselves, self-traumatizing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, trying to get out there and live that life is crazy. Answer, are there any common misconceptions about addiction recovery that you've encountered helping others? Any misconceptions?
Misconceptions.
How about people believing that they're going to die addict, they can never get clean, they can never, you know, change their life or live a healthy life. Those are some. I thought like that. I think for a long time I never believed I would get clean. I just knew I would die an addict or I'd die in jail, and I didn't care what happened on either one. I don't care about dying as long as I died high, and I didn't care about going to jail as long as I went to jail high. So I mean, but that was my thoughts in the beginning. I didn't even believe people really were clean. You ever go to a meeting and be like, these guys talk about 30 years, and you're like, he just knows how to get high without consequences. He learned that. So I would go looking for that. Right?
That's nothing but game, right?
No, I mean, that's how I just believed when I went in.
Well, I couldn't do it myself. I can relate to that because when I remember saying, I'm not going to use today, you know, and by the end of the day, what am I doing? I'm picking up. You know? And it wasn't until I was able to get some support, you know, because I couldn't do it alone. You know, I didn't start using alone, and so I can't stop using alone. And so, yeah, definitely. And that people can get well, and people can stay well, and people can change their lives. Like, people don't think that change is possible, you know, and I believe, like, there's a quote from Wayne Dyer. if we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change.
Powerful, yeah. That's right. I think it has a lot to do with our belief system and what we believe about ourselves. And like you said, going around these peer centers, which are very important, getting information, talking to other people, you know what I mean, iron sharpens iron, and just getting an environment that's conducive for that change. I think
like
a lot
that.
of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get in the wrong places and try to change in the wrong places, right? Yeah. And it doesn't happen. All right, so how do you stay updated and educated on the latest developments and approaches in addiction recovery? Because you stay updated, you're all, you know, we talked about the language.
Yes.
So you could talk a little bit about that too if you would like.
Yeah.
But how do you stay updated on the information?
I got an inquiring mind, Daryl.
They want to know. No?
I try to get information from a variety of sources. You know, I say...
stay open.
Yeah, and I work for MORE, okay? And MORE, our organization, our mission is to organize recovering individuals.
We're going to get to that.
Well, yeah.
We're going to get to more.
All right, but this is how I like.
All right, let's go then.
All right,
so
yeah, you trying to slow my roll? Hell no.
No.
All right, look at this guy.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm just trying to let you know that we're going to get to more.
Well,
there's a whole page. Let's go.
Okay. Well, this is how I stay updated.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Like.
Apologize. Go.
Apologize.
I apologize.
Oh, okay. You apologize. Well, I apologize too myself because. But anyways, in my work, right?
Okay.
We're constantly having people from the community, you know, having at events, sharing about the latest, what's going on. I go to different webinars. You know, I'm going to conferences. We just had the No Wrong Door conference. Not the Pathways of Recovery, Infinite Pathways of Recovery, you know, that BSAS put on, you know, and going to conferences, you know, in the past I've gone to No Wrong Door, and it's just been like getting involved in the recovery community, reading books, you know, William White and the William White pages. He has so much information, you know. And
he wrote the CCR thing, didn't he?
He's done so much, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. Also, YouTube videos, reading newspaper, you know.
So you just stay reading and
talking to people in recovery, you know, having that, you know, they call it, and to have like a beginner's mind, always wondering, you know, to try to learn more, and because I aim to remain teachable. I don't know it all, and there's so much to be learned, and also there's new stuff happening every day.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You're right. There's not a week, I would say there's not a couple days that goes by that you have not put something in my email about a meeting, a Zoom meeting, something.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So yeah, you do like to disseminate information. What are your thoughts on the importance of community and peer support in the recovery process? We talked a little bit about it already.
Well, I mean, at the heart of it, okay, I'm just gonna share for me.
Okay.
It helped me heal from the trauma, the things that happened to me, you know, by connecting with other people who've gone through similar things. It made it safe to open up, you know, like, because I've been to like therapy. I didn't want to be talking about some of the things that happened to me, but when I hear other people talking about the trauma they experienced, you know, it made it okay to say, yeah, it happened to me too, you know?
Yeah.
And also what I love from peer support, and it's strength-based. And I learned a long time, early in peer support and mental health recovery through like when I was in that community of people learning to become a certified peer specialist, that I am not my diagnosis. And that was powerful because
it is powerful.
What I thought about, like I shared earlier, I was given this diagnosis of bipolar disorder, and I just never accepted it. I don't resonate with it. I told the psychiatrist, like, well, I'm 100%, I don't have it. And so I decided, like, I could accept the treatment that they gave me, but I would not accept the diagnosis or the identity, because what I felt, it was way more debilitating to my self-image to see myself through that lens of lack, of that
disabled, disability.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted, like the D list. I became disenfranchised. I became destitute. I became down. I became like depressed. Like so I need peer support to help me see what's wrong with me, because when I'm at my worst, I can only see my faults. But when I'm surrounded by peers, people who get me, like you talk about me having positive energy, I'm just reflecting it back to what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like that community helped me heal that broken place, that I could talk about what's going on and that there's nothing wrong with me. It's just, you know, things that happen to me, and it's about what's strong with me and building off these strengths and having hopes and having tools to deal with the challenges.
It's good because a lot of people, and I know I had struggled with it for a while, I couldn't get past allowing what I did and what happened to me to define me.
The guilt,
and
man.
I couldn't see
Yeah.
the real me. You know, I couldn't even stop beginning to look at the real
Yeah.
me because that's how I saw myself, and it defined me. So that's big.
But
so,
one more thing, hey,
go ahead,
guilt
brother.
can really be harmful to people.
Most definitely.
And so for me, it's important that guilt is good for me. It's good for me. Can you believe this?
A certain level of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, because
yeah.
if it keeps me from doing something bad.
Yeah.
But as far as the past, like I can't change the past. So like that guilt, if I'm living there, I'm not in the present moment. So, but I can use that, and also coupled with fear. Like fear can be bad if it keeps me from doing something good.
Yeah.
But it can be good if
There's
it
a
keeps
level
me
of it,
doing
yeah.
something bad, or inspire me to get to a meeting or go to a workout when I don't want to because I'm afraid of not being well. So it can help motivate me to do not what I want to do, but what I need to do.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk about a little bit about more, brother.
Thank you. More.
More,
I
more,
love
more.
more. I love me some more, and I'm not the only one. Okay? It's a great organization.
Shout out
It's
to
been
More.
around
Yeah.
since 1991.
Okay.
You know, Marianne Frangoulis and Leroy Kelly started it, and they've, it's been just tremendous organizations, had a huge impact on the recovery community.
Powerful
and,
movement, yeah.
And like the mission statement is to organize recovering individuals, families, and friends into a collective voice to educate the public about the value of recovery
Good.
from alcohol and other drugs. And is that a good thing, Darryl?
It is. I respect More a lot.
Thank
You know what I mean? I really, really do. I respect
Yes.
that movement.
We want to be visible, we want to be valuable, and we want to be vocal.
All right, so tell me about your role and your responsibilities in the organization.
I'm the Metro West Regional Coordinator for More, and it's part of my job is to organize people and form action for recovery teams and to help people to become aware of the policies that More is advocating for. Help people get involved and plan our events and really, help our vision come to fruition. We have a vision that we really want to help people see that addiction is a significant public health issue, and that recovery from alcohol and other drugs to be seen as valuable to all our communities, so we can be assets. Because all too long, people don't see that recovery is a valuable thing. This is one of the reasons why I wear Recovery is Real.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm out in the community, people come up to me, "Hey, I like your shirt," or like, "Hey, are you in recovery?" They'll be like, "Yeah, I'm in recovery." It's like, "Yeah, I'm wearing Recovery is Real." And they're like, "I got 10 years." Or I had another person at the bus stop. Oh, a parent, like, "Hey, I'm in recovery too. I just celebrated 1 year." I was like, "All right." So we want to change, by being out there, we want to be agents of change around stigma, but what I'm calling it right now, it's discrimination. We want to
I like
create,
that.
we want to,
Yeah.
and we want to change how people view it, and so that we want to be able to see, wow, this person's in recovery. They have a lot of resources to see it as a good thing, and that's why I wear the shirt. And everybody where I go, they know. And so if somebody needs some support, they can reach out. And this is what More wants to do. We want to be like Visa, everywhere you want to be.
yeah. Let me get back to that a little bit, the stigma thing. It's funny that we want to, and you're right. I'm not, we want to remove those barriers that stigma is raised up. But we're asking the community, society, to accept this as a substance use disorder, as a disease, and it's not a moral failing. But we self-stigmatize in our own community, right? Shouldn't we start with our own self? Me and you were talking about the language.
Oh, yeah.
That's some crazy, that is some powerful, when I first found out, so I don't identify myself like that anymore. But with those words, an addict, just won't call myself an addict anymore. I just never knew how powerful that was. But what do you think about the way we self-stigmatize in our own community? And shouldn't we work on that first with the language, the all-inclusiveness, supporting all pathways?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we? What do you think about stuff like that?
All I can say is it's been vital. It's been a game changer for me to learn about strength-based language and to see.
Can you explain or talk a little bit?
Yeah.
A little
Well,
bit?
I'll call it. One of the things that can be called is human experience language. you know, or common everyday language or things to reframe a situation. So, for instance, I was once told by a former boss that I was impulsive. Can you believe it? Impulsive? I said, well, I like to think of myself as being decisive. Okay, so sometimes when we focus on deficits, like that can be a negative thing, or you know, someone might call me passionate. I mean, argumentative, or I could say I'm passionate. You know, so we want to be able to, because if we change the language, we can change the perceptions, and so we want to use language that creates empowerment.
Okay, yeah.
Language that supports self-determination, and when you think of a person in long-term addiction recovery, mental health recovery, trauma recovery, someone being successful, you know, that paints a nice picture that it can be a valuable thing. Whereas if we use a different word, you know, because there's stigma and prejudice out there, it can reinforce those stereotypes. Yeah. So I try to use strength-based language and things that's going to increase my motivation, increase my resiliency, and
empower people.
Yeah, and that's it. At the end of the day, that's what it's important about.
I want to learn more. Yeah. Okay. Tell me, what types of services or programs does MORE provide to individuals struggling with addiction and families?
We do a bunch of different things, and we have a fantastic website. So if you go to more-recovery.org.
But there's nothing you want to talk about?
Yeah.
We can put it up at the end.
Put it up. All right, thank you. We have recovery coaching. We have these peer support groups, areas, addiction, recovery.
I like that.
Access, education services, and it's peer run, and we have a curriculum that people can learn a variety of things.
Is that what you was training us for facilitating?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. In fact, I'd love to have you. You know, like, come on, man. Like, so we have all this. In fact, one of the curriculums is about recovery messaging and using strength-based and healthy relationships. And so we, have Corey. We do all, so it's this. We do trainings.
Cool stuff with the Corey.
Yeah. In fact, also with MORE, we have these trainings in the community, whether it's Recovery 101 or Introduction to MORE or how to seal your Corey training, know your rights, because in fact, how I got this job at MORE, I was able to seal my Corey because I'm a person who's actually, can you believe it, Darryl? I've been charged with some crimes. Charged. I got charged with even some felonies, but luckily, I was able to make those charges not stick, But I got to tell you, like, I've had some privilege, and I'm just going to name it. I have white privilege. I've been treated differently than other people. I've been able to have the means to afford a lawyer. There's right now I believe there are 97% of the people incarcerated in America today took a plea bargain. Yeah. And so not having the resources to be able to, yes, and it's so so as a result, I was able to have these charges that were brought down to like misdemeanors. Never had to do time. I came close, but by learning how to seal my Corey, which I learned from MORE, I was able to have a spotless record in Massachusetts and get this job and carry the message that recovery is real.
It is real. It is real. Cool. As someone who works closely with individuals, what are some of the most rewarding aspects of your job?
I love seeing the light come on in people. I love seeing people increase their recovery capital, to have that self-confidence.
What is recovery capital?
It's assets that we have. It can be internal, it can be external, like internal, like our resiliency. It could be self-efficacy, being able to believe in ourselves. It can be knowing like where a meeting is, or just it can be emotional knowledge. It can also be external, like you can have a job, you can have a home, you can have a car, the people like peer support, like knowing where a recovery center is, knowing how to access a computer. Not everybody has access to stuff, and so it's basically the things that we can develop that's going to help us be successful, and we can build it. So I'm always trying to support people to grow their recovery capital, and also what's nice is it can help people see that the things that they were embarrassed about. We talked about guilt. Like one of my barriers of coming into recovery was my self-image and how I felt about myself. I took on that negative self-talk. And it wasn't until I learned that all those things I was embarrassed about is actually recovery capital. And things that I've overcome. And so it became a strength that now I could have more empathy and I could connect with other people going through what I've gone through, and it can inspire some hope. Yeah. So that's recovery capital, when we can walk into a place and be with someone and say, yeah, I've been locked up here before, and and I got through it, and so can you. Let's talk about, what paths might lead you to where you want to go.
Good stuff. The funny thing, you just talked about that. Dude, when I was growing up, going to jail and going to prison was looked at as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Right? I couldn't wait to go to jail. As you know, it's just some level, right? Like, it wasn't no thing. Being an addict, it didn't, because we talking about the guilt and shame. In the beginning, it didn't have that because it was just normal.
Yeah.
Right? To me, if you didn't use drugs and if you didn't go to jail, you were different, not us, right? Yeah. Until you learn later on, you get beat up, you're like, oh, this is crazy. But then the guilt and the shame came on, But in the beginning, no, it was a rite of passage, bro.
Yeah.
Both of those.
And also, for
the people
so down in the New Bedford area, it was very similar.
Like, you've been out there, yeah.
You've been there.
Yeah, I've gone there. I was at Stepping Stones, so Fall River, they used to take us to the, out there to the recovery thing out there.
Yeah. And in fact, the stigma to me was around mental health recovery, because it was no shame if you used too much, if you partied too hard, and you had developed a little bit of a habit or a problem, or if you got jammed up with the law. It wasn't considered really, there was no shame, there was no stigma. However, once people found out, like for me personally, I had this mental health diagnosis, and I was sectioned, that stigma, and I just remember how real it was. I can remember telling somebody, "Hey, good news! I'm not crazy. I'm in recovery. I'm addiction recovery now." And it's like, I was bragging about it.
No, because you think you are.
But it was just like.
What happened is, but right now, today, and especially in my community, in the black community, that mental health thing is like.
Yeah, people don't want to talk. People don't want to talk
even
about
want to
it.
go there. A friend of mine, he has a mental health group. He runs this thing called Yard Time Entertainment out of Boston, and he has a mental health group, and there's a Me Too movement in there, right? Like you just said, yeah, damn, that happened. You know what I mean? It happened to me, right?
And Dow, I left out in the past week what we talked earlier about resources I use for my wellness. I can't believe I left this out. Last Friday at 4:00. Do Recovery Anonymous, where we can talk about mental health recovery, addiction recovery, trauma recovery.
Yeah.
It's online. It's run by the Clubhouse Coalition, and it's an awesome group. I go there so often.
That's something you might send me a link to.
Yeah, without a doubt. You can zoom in, and they have meetings in person, and they have them online. So do DRA, it's called, and it's really incredible stuff.
What happens is you get into recovery. Well, I'm going to speak for you're in there, and then. And then the relationships that I have in my life, whether it's my daughter, significant other, whatever, these relationships stress so much, man, right? And it bothers up here. You know what I mean? I sit back, and it bothers with my mental health. It's like I can't even deal with life at some point. During the day, I'm stressed out. I want to get to a corner. I want to just get in the car and ride somewhere and just think and pull over. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Then I want to just run away. All this, you understand what I mean? I go to it, all those, and then I say, I can't do it. And then go back. But it's a whole roller coaster before I get to I can't do it. And I know it's up here. And I know that the next level is back to that thinking that I had before, that where I was mentally unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I'll be mentally unhealthy around the people that I probably love the most, right?
Yeah.
And start hurting them that way. Maybe not with the drugs, but other ways, right?
Yeah. Hey, and Dow.
Nuts, man.
All this is we have stresses in our lives, and then it activates feelings. And the feelings, it can be good information to tell us what's going on. And then it's like, for me, it's important. Like, there's an old expression: feelings aren't facts, right? I don't know if you've heard this before.
Yeah.
However, what we do with those feelings become our future facts. And for me, I try to use it as a guide of what's going on. So when I'm feeling like I want to not be around people, or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, what can I do to center myself? So it's either maybe it's meditation, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's getting on the phone and talking to somebody, or going to a meeting. Oh, and that DRA, if you were to Google DRA in Massachusetts, it'll take you to the Massachusetts Clubhouse Coalition, and you can see DRA, find a virtual meeting. And in fact, if you want to go on Friday, 4 o'clock, we can Zoom in together.
All right, so Friday, yeah, let me know. Let me know. We'll.
I'll send you the thing.
Good stuff. I appreciate it. Okay, how is more adapting its services and strategies in response to the challenges posed on the ongoing opioid epidemic? Because of what's going on now, like, people don't even know because it's really not out there that it's worse this year.
Yeah, it's seven people a day.
But it's not news.
No,
right?
it's you would think it would be making more news, and in the black and the brown community, it's even the rates are even
worse.
higher.
It's crazy.
It's horrible. You know,
but it's not news, and why isn't it? You know, I mean, we know why it isn't.
Yeah.
But how can we? What is more? How are you adapting? How are you guys are bringing that up there?
You know, we are working closely. In fact, today, Marianne Frangulis was meeting with the mayor.
Shout out Marianne.
Yeah, Marianne, she's incredible. Like she was meeting with Mayor Wu of Boston to talk about what's going on in Long Island, because I don't know if people are aware of this. Long Island, not the one in New York. Like that's what I thought it was. New York. Like we're talking about Long Island.
It's that little shelter area.
It's a little shelter area that had services like
they took it down.
Yeah, tell people about that. You know, so
they closed it. There was Long Island shelter it housed a lot of people. It was giving a lot of people home, but it had a lot of problems. They just got rid of it, and then now we have mass and cash and all this other stuff as a result.
Yeah, a lot of people from
so
Long
people
Island.
are complaining. Mass and cash. Then we need to invest back into Long Island. Put the walk-through services inside there, and let's get
So we're doing work
That's
on that.
crazy.
We're also Governor Maura Healey is what?
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah,
The same people. I don't even want to get into it because then my show turns to a
Also,
whole
we're working on
show.
the opioid abatement fund that are going out. So we're trying to. The other thing Moore's doing is we're working with all the different towns, 351 towns, because there's this opioid abatement fund, and it's monies that have come into the possession of the Commonwealth that they're distributing to every town who wants it. In Marlborough, I believe, is receiving $175,000 over the next couple of years.
Unfortunately, we don't have a coordinator. We can't. They haven't hired it where they've been trying to hire a coordinator to represent, and no one's taken the job. So
So Moore is organizing individuals in recovery. In fact, on April 11th this past year, we had the Metro West Regional Forum. We invited town administrators from all over the Metro West to connect with people in recovery, because part of this fund is the towns can have the money, but they're being encouraged to say, ask the recovery community, what's going to help them recover. And so we're getting people's voices heard. We're working with DPH to having these meetings all over the state, and we're having information sessions where we can share with people about it and how towns to apply, and encouraging towns to pull together their resources, and then getting people in recovery to be able to give their voice, helping towns set up websites, how to make proposals. And so we're doing a lot of work to try to get the word out around that, because companies were sued for the overprescribing of opioids. And so now that money came in. They had a lawsuit and they settled, and the money came in to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So Moore is helping people to, connect with the people in charge of the money, and also then helping the people in charge of the money to be able to get information and to be able so that the money can be used to help people recover. So we can carry that message. Not only that recovery is real, but we can support people to make it real, and help with things like transportation, because access, because let's face it, for years the American healthcare system has been really not supportive to certain communities, to communities that are the most vulnerable communities. There's been oppression.
The most at risk.
Yeah, and the resources in this country are not divided equally.
100%.
So we really want to make the situation more equitable, and so we want the money. We want to help people get what they need to get access, to figure out what is it that they got to do to make some improvements in their lives. And so it's because it hasn't been working to keep doing what we've always done, because it's not equitable. So this is one of the things we're doing at Moore, to do the work we need to enhance the equity and to help people get access and that, because as they say in, you know, in certain communities, nothing about us without us. So we really want to get everybody's voices heard and everybody have a say in it. Not just people with power, but everybody.
Yeah. That conversation you just gave me, I had this conversation like 2 weeks ago with Tyshawn Perryman. Thank you for that
Tyshawn, I love you, dude. You're doing great work over there at BSAS.
You're saying it. I'm listening. I'm like, damn, you're just saying this.
Tyshawn's a man.
That's powerful what you just said. You're right. I wanted to go back a little bit to talk up a little bit more because we kind of skipped over it. Mary Ann talking about Mayor Wu. So is more trying, if they're trying to do something, have them do something with Long Island, are you guys going to help provide wraparound services there? Or is there a plan?
Hey, we're in the planning stage.
Are you starting to look at that?
And we're advocating for more. We always want people to have as many options as possible, as many resources. We are not in favor of less. We're in favor of more at more. Can you believe it? You know? And so we're helping to uncover what are the barriers and how can we make this, I guess, increase the resources and, you know, support these things to be different, because we've done some, you know, there's been a lot of great work done over the years. However, there's a lot of more work to be done, you know?
And you guys are doing it, and I appreciate that. Okay, let me ask you, are there any upcoming events, initiatives, or new programs that Moore is excited about and want to share with the community?
Yes, on September 26th, it's a Tuesday. Everybody, come on to Boston. We're going to have the Moore Recovery Day. And we've been doing this for a long time, and I believe it is year number 33. I hope I got this right, okay? But we're going to have speakers. Yes, and it's going to be awesome. We've been having this the past few years at Faneuil Hall. We had a march last year from the Boston Common and to Faneuil Hall, and it was just, we had all kinds of speakers.
All day, all weekend?
Yeah, it's a day. We had, you know, in fact, you mentioned Mayor Wu. She kicked it off last year. She was at Boston Common. We had now our governor, Maura Healey, spoke, and we're going to have people from the recovery community.
I don't want to cut you off. What about that community? That community, I spoke to someone in the LBGTQ. I didn't want to say it the wrong way, but they felt like he was locked from it, or there was a stigma or barrier for him, really, because he comes around, you know, the center, and he doesn't really plug in. He's always on the outskirts. And I was asking him, like, what could they look at, you know? And I don't know if that was self-stigmatizing, but I'm sure there's barriers of not really including me or not really that community.
Well, we really want all communities to be part of the recovery process, not just some, and because we like to believe that, no, we do believe that recovery is for everybody.
It is for everyone.
You know, so it's important.
But do you guys help that community? I know you.
In fact, on Monday,
you said something about that's
on
why I'm
last
asking.
I shared with you a flyer. On Monday night, I was at Turning Point Recovery Center, and we were planning an LGBTQI meeting. You know, and because we want to have a safe place for people, because not everybody in that community feels welcome everywhere they go. I experienced that a couple days ago. Like, I learned that the substance use disorder rates in the LGBTQI plus community is actually 3 times higher than the general public. And what's even more disturbing is that the rate for attempt of a suicide, 5 times more likely.
Yeah, because we got them out here.
You know, so we want to, so that's one of the things that we're doing on Monday is planning this event. So planning what the format's going to be, how to do outreach. So if you're interested in, you know, either being part of the planning process, or you have ideas where we can go to outreach and connect with the LGBT community and help people.
Do they connect on that flyer? Is there information on it?
Yeah. So
there's a flyer that's going to be up at the end of the show. Please check it out.
So every Monday night at Turning Point Recovery Center in Walpole, and it's on Common Street, 32 Common Street, I believe, or 30 Common Street. Anyways, we have this thing, and we 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and if people want, you know, I'll put my number out there. You give me a call, and I'll find a way to help you. If you can't access it in person, I'll find a way for you to access it remotely.
That's one thing you always tell me. Give my number to anybody.
I'll tell you right now, 508-971-5421. You can call me. You can text me. You can say recovery is real. I honestly don't feel like I can possibly pay back what's been given to me. Because as a result of this recovery process, you know, I met the woman of my dreams. We have 2 wonderful kids, and we got a home. I got a job. Like, so honestly, I got purpose in life. You know, I feel like my spirituality is something that has carried me to this moment right here, and I feel like I can't do enough to pay it forward. So, and
that leads to my next question. So how has your wife, how has your children supported your recovery and the work that you do? I mean, I'm sure you're like open 24/7 for calls or whatever. A lot of people have access to you. So how?
No, 24/7, man. I need to sleep. I set my phone to do not disturb.
Okay.
Okay. And you can call me, you can text me. Yeah, and I'll call you back. But like I have to figure out like what do I want to say yes to.
How do they support it? I mean,
they're incredible people. You know. And
how many kids?
We have 2 kids, Fiona and Jack. In fact, I got Jackie's water
Shout
bottle.
out to you guys, man.
Yes, I got Jackie's
Keep your
water
dad
bottle. And my wife, magnificent Maria. She is incredible.
Salute to you too, lady.
And but you know, just the strong family bond that we have, they inspire me to do better. In fact, the other night, I put my son to bed, and I was like, I'm going to go to the gym now, and I'm tired. He's like, can you set your personal best? 'Cause I do this cardio thing where how many calories I can burn in 30. I was like, don't put that on me, Jackie. And he's like, you can do it, Dad. You can do it. I was like, oh. And I was tired. I went to.
Is that what you used to tell him? You can do it.
Yes. So I go to the gym, and I'm so tired. I'm on this elliptical machine on the bike, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give my best effort for my son. And I ended up breaking a personal best, and took a picture and sent it to him. He's going to see it the next day. And I told him, hey, you inspire me to do better. You know, so I was told once that being loved by somebody gives you strength. Yeah. You know, so my family gives me strength, and it's also a powerful motivator because I know, my kid once told me, Daddy, I'm going to do whatever you do. And like, I don't care what we do, I just want to spend time with you. So I always want to be there for my family, and also know that I'm a role model, and they're gonna you know, imitate what I do. So I better set a good example. And my wife is just the most kindest person I ever met. You know, she inspires me to be a better person. When I first met her, she's like, will you open your freaking mind? You know, it's like, because I had a lot of growing to do, and she's helped me so much. And also she believes in me, and then my kids believe in me, and I think, you know, my family, like extended family, my recovery family, like having people who believe in me has helped me believe in myself. Because like, if I don't believe in myself, like, how can I expect anyone else to? And that
believe what you say.
Yeah, right. And if I can't walk the walk, you know, then I see a lot of integrity. So the family, you know, that love, that connection, and it's fun. Like, we do things together. We're going on a family vacation. Say a prayer on that one. But it's really, since I'm older, Daryl, like back in my younger days, I wanted to be out doing stuff, but like, now that I'm older, man, I just want to be home. In fact, you know, I leave here, I'm going home to my family. Yeah. So we've asked, how many questions we got left?
We're good. We're good. We had a very good interview, very good. But you do have 5 or 10 minutes. No, you have as much time as you want. Right. That's your camera.
All right.
Give a message, or say whatever you want to say, but just take your time. You have time to say what you want to say. If there's things that you felt you should have said, or whatever, this is your time.
Oh, thank you, Daryl. I have had a lot of fun being here today.
We're going to talk about you. I had a lot of fun. It was. You know, I told you it was not a problem.
Yeah. You know, and honestly, I got to tell you, I didn't get into recovery to be miserable. Because if I were going to be miserable in recovery, like, you know, I don't think I would sustain it.
Go back to there.
Yeah, it's like, because they told me early on, like, if I didn't want to stay in recovery, that they'd refund my misery.
The misery would be refunded.
You know, exactly. But honestly, finding a community of people, you know, that I could talk about what's really going on and take a look at things that in my life that were working and things that weren't working. Like, I learned early on that dissatisfaction can be a powerful motivator. And like you told me the other day, just in our talk, like, can you share that story about the pearls? Like, come on, man. Yes.
We have a group, the Diamonds and Pearls group. We have this group, Diamonds and Pearls, a females group that we have at the center. and we go over the diamond. First of all, the diamond, we talk about how it was created with a lot of fire and a lot of pressure. So when you feel like your life's on fire, or you get a lot of pressure to make a diamond. And when you're agitated, do like the oyster does. It made the pearl.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we look at that, and yeah, that's a metaphor. Those are crazy. But when you really think about it, no matter what comes down the line, you, based on your perception of it, you know what I mean, you can make pearls, or you can stay agitated.
Right, because that pressure can break us or it can make us, you know. And so this is something I learned early on. I try to feel my feelings, to try to deal with them, and to try to work on healing. Because if I'm just avoiding them, stuffing them, not taking a look at stuff, it didn't work for me. So that's why I guess maybe I do try to encourage people, or just share for me, that I had to learn to feel, deal, and heal, so I can carry the message that recovery is real. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you good?
I'm good.
Good, thanks.
And so are you.
Thank you for coming, man. And great show.
I love you.
I love
All
you
right?
too, bro. I told you the show was good. Thank you for tuning in to this powerful episode of Real Talk TV. We've delved into the depths of addiction, the weight of stigma, and the inspiring journey of recovery. Before we part ways, let's take a moment to reflect on the impact we can create together. Substance use disorder is a relentless adversary that affects millions across the globe. It's not limited to a specific gender, age, or background, and it can touch anyone. Through our candid conversation today, we shed light on the harsh realities faced by those battling this disorder. We've confronted the stigma that surrounds this struggle, recognizing that understanding, compassion, and empathy can break down the barriers that prevent healing. We want to extend a heartfelt reminder that substance use disorder is a disease, not a moral failing. We must replace judgment with support and condemnation with encouragement. By doing so, we can help individuals seeking recovery find hope and strength on their path to reclaiming their lives. As we move forward, let's actively challenge the stereotypes and misconceptions surrounding substance use disorder. Education and open dialogue are vital in creating a more inclusive, compassionate society. It's time to break the chains of stigma and embrace those in recovery with open arms. We encourage everyone watching this show to support local organizations and initiatives that aid in substance use recovery. Each one of us can make a difference through volunteering, donations, or even just being a caring and non-judgmental friend to someone in need. Remember, real talk sparks real change. We hope today's episode has ignited a fire within you to give this change forward. Together we can build a world where substance use disorder is met with understanding, where stigma is replaced with compassion, and where recovery is celebrated as a triumph of the human spirit. Thank you for being a part of this important conversation. Until next time, let's continue to have courage to talk openly, listen without judgment, and make positive impact in the lives of those affected with substance use disorder. Stay strong, stay compassionate, and keep spreading real talk. Thank you, brother.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
Whoa. But thank you, brother. Come back again. I have one more question. How could people get involved with more?
We have a bunch of different ways. In fact, we're having these planning sessions for Recovery Day on Monday nights, on Zoom. We also have people to volunteer at events, people who want to speak. I run a Metro West Action for Recovery meeting. We're looking for people to share their stories. Also, we're looking for people to do advocacy work. Contact your legislator. We have all these policy priorities that we want to educate the public about.
Can we put the more website up at the end of the show?
Please.
Just come to, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do that.
And call me. If you want to get involved, tell me what you want to do. Tell me what needs to, we can figure out what you want, and we can get you. There's a place for everybody. Aquí cabemos todos. Here, we all fit.
Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, keep spreading it, keep sharing it. Let's try to keep this on the forefront. And like I always say, I want to say I love you to Taisha, little Daryl, and Zayla. Peace.